Hello everyone, welcome to Dhronas IAS, division of The Dhronas. So today, as you can see, I am here to discuss about science and technology for UPSC and WBCS. Now in this session, I am going to discuss about the syllabus, both the exams and the important topics, the topics you need to prepare for these exams, and also previous year's question analysis so that you can get an idea about the exams and the question patterns. The last one is reading current affairs because it's all about technology. You need to relate the applications of the theory or the scientific theories, concepts in technological field, so that you need to learn about the current affairs of the new advancements of the technologies, as well as you need to take the concise notes of each of the topics. So let's not much waste time. This is the syllabus of prelims. Now, as you can see in UPSC and WBCS, in General Paper Studies Paper 1, here the total question is 100 and the question asked from science and technology is on an average 15 to 20. Okay. So for this segment, what you need to do, you need to learn about the basic general science. That means the basic concepts of physics, basic concepts of chemistry, the basic concepts of biology. Now moving on to the next slide, mains syllabus. In case of main syllabus, paper 5, GS paper 3. Here as you can see that we have groups. Group A, Indian Society and Developments, and Group B will be your Science and Technology part. The marks for Science and Technology will be 100. There will be 10 marks questions and 15 marks questions. Okay. Now, the topics, as I discussed earlier, that this section seem a little bit of disoriented, but if you focus or if you analyze the previous year's question, you get an idea which segments you have to focus, which segments or what are the topics you need to prepare, you need to read the current affairs on that topics. So I have listed here some important topics. Okay, so first one is defense. Now, in defense, you have to read about the defense technologies, defense administration, like India's Atmanirbhar initiatives, like different types of missile technology, then special technologies like INS Vikrant, INS Vikramaditya. This type of subtopics you need to focus from defense segment. Okay. Now, moving on to the next topic, that is biotechnology. So it's a huge segment, biotechnology. In this case, you have to focus on genetic engineering. Now then DNA sequencing, PCR, polymerase chain reaction, RNA interference, gene therapy, DNA fingerprinting, food technology, industrial technology, and so on. So it's a huge segment. Now moving on to the next, computer science or IT, and the booming topic artificial intelligence. Now you need to read about like what is artificial intelligence, how you can apply this artificial intelligence in agriculture, in medicine, in clinical trials, in healthcare systems, in defense, in space. So wherever you can put artificial intelligence, you need to learn about the applications. Next topic is space. Now in case of space technology, you need to learn about ISRO, history, their backgrounds, their achievements, their upcoming projects, the international collaborations for the space projects, different types of space projects like Chandrayaan, Mangalyaan, Gaganyaan, and the solar mission, then the different types of space vehicles, spaceships, the orbital concept of different types of orbital. Now, these are something you need to focus from space. Now, the last topic I have listed here, that is nanotechnology. So, nanotechnology, what is the principle behind nanotechnology? What are the different types of nanoparticles? Now, what is the working principle of these nanoparticles, and what is the applications of nanoparticles in medicine development, then in different types of device development, healthcare device, or different types of other technological devices which includes nanoparticles. You have to read about the current technology that is being implemented from these nano segments. Okay, so moving on to the next thing is, let's discuss a little bit about physics, chemistry and biology, the basic or the the foundation course. Okay, so in this case from physics. Now in physics, first you have to read about the general physics like the mechanics, motion, laws of Newton's law, gravitation, work power energy, thermodynamics, current, magnetism, optics, sound, then nuclear physics. So these are the topics you need to learn, and the best source for this, the basic concepts or the foundation of your physics subject is the NCERTs. From 6 to 12 you have to follow. Now here I have taken a prelims question from physics to give you an idea about the pattern of the question. So the question is based on simply on the mechanic or the motion. Okay. So the question is, consider the following statement. Number 1, the distance covered by an object in a specified direction in unit time interval is called velocity. Okay. Now, what is the difference between speed and velocity? So, speed means distance by time. Per unit time, you are covering the distance, that is speed. But if the distance covered per unit time is specified in a direction, if you have the direction, then it becomes velocity. So velocity means the displacement or the distance covered per unit time in a specific direction, that is known as velocity. So statement 1 is correct. Now going into the statement 2, acceleration shows the changing in velocity in a unit time. So if you have constant velocity, then you will not have any acceleration. Your acceleration will be 0. There must be change in velocity per unit time so that you can have acceleration. So definitely acceleration has this definition, change in velocity per unit time. Okay, so this statement is also correct. So which above the statement is or are correct? आपसे correct ही पूछा है. So we can mark the option C, both 1 and 2 for this question. Now going to the next subject, chemistry. Now here chemistry, general chemistry is required, but mostly you need to focus the chemistry in our everyday life. What chemistry we use in our everyday life, what are the compounds we use in our daily life, you need to focus on that particular segment of chemistry. Okay, so the question I have taken from the prelims is related to our favorite foods. What we all love pizza, burgers, french fries, the packaged fried fruits. So that food contains, it's not at all healthy, right? We know, but it's our craving for these foods. So in this case, I hope you can see the slide fully here. So the question is, a company marketing food products advertises that its items do not contain trans fats. So before going into the question, I want to discuss about this trans fats. What are these trans fats? Okay. So like the fats are mostly, you can categorize them in broad classes, 2 classes. Okay. Number 1, saturated fats, and number 2, unsaturated fats. Now, what is this difference between saturated and unsaturated? These saturated fats, you know, like you can consider them, okay, they have single bonds in them. Okay, saturated fats are single bond in them, in their structure. Unsaturated fats have double bonds in their structure. Now this trans fat, what does it mean? The trans fat means it's a process known as hydrogenation. Now the hydrogenation, what is hydrogenation? Hydrogenation is the addition of hydrogen in some of the double bonds to increase the shelf life of the food product. ठीक है? Now the company, this trans fats actually is not at all healthy. ठीक है? It can increase your cardiovascular risk. It also create issues with your digestive systems, and it increases your weight. It leads to obesity. More and more trans fat leads to health issues. Okay, so here comes so the company marketing the food product advertises that it does not contain any trans fat. That means it does not contain any hydrogenated fat. Okay, it does not contain any hydrogenated fat. Now the question is, the food products, the statements are, the food products are not made out of hydrogenated oil. If the food product do not contain any trans fat, so obviously they are not made out of hydrogenated oils. So this statement is correct. Now, the food products are not made out of animal fats or oils. Now, this is something is not mentioned here in the advertisement. They only mentioned they do not contain trans fat, but they did not mention that the food products are not from animal source. Okay, so this statement is not going with the advertisement. Okay, now the number 3 statement, the oils used are here are not likely to damage the cardiovascular health of the consumers. Now, if the food products do not contain any trans fat, obviously it will not create any cardiovascular risk. So, number 3 statement is also correct. So the question is, which of the statements given above is or are correct? So we can mark 1 and 3 only. I hope you get the idea or the concept behind this question. So as I told you earlier, from chemistry, most of the question is application based. The thing how we apply chemistry in our daily life. You need to focus on this segment of chemistry. Okay. So physics done, chemistry done. Now we are going to move to biology. So biology. So here you can say that I have first the topic is cell biology. You need to learn, you need to know about the basic structure of a living system, that is cell. You need to understand what is cell, what are the cell organelles, and how they coordinate to function task, how to perform a task. Then genetics, what is DNA, what is RNA, what is chromosome, and what are their functions, what are their varieties, DNA replication, then synthesis of RNA from DNA, synthesis of protein. So this type of the terminologies that is associated with genetics, you need to have the basic idea. Okay. Now, the special emphasis you have to give on human physiology. Okay, so we all are human being, right? But most of us, we do not know how our body works. What is the physiological processes that we perform in our everyday life? Okay, so you need to learn a little bit about human physiology. So you need to learn how the organs, how the glands, how the hormonal system, nervous system acts together to perform the functions inside our body. So this understanding is required so that you can correlate. You can correlate the technological applications in our human body. Okay. So the last is health and disease. So this is a huge segment, right? Health and disease. Now, disease means the causative agent like bacteria, virus, fungi, protozoa, worms, different types of disease causative agents. You need to know about them. Then what are the diseases? And you need to focus the current scenario. What are the outbreaks of the recent disease? So, and the advancement of the treatment procedures, the advancement of the drugs, then development of vaccines, development of medicines, these aspects you need to focus. Okay. So moving on to the biology prelim question. Question that is based on, as you can see, recombinant DNA technology. Okay. So it's a part of genetic engineering. Okay. And it's come under biotechnology segment. So genetic engineering. First, if before going into the question, I just want to give you a brief, simple concept of this recombinant DNA technology. What is it? Okay. So to do that, I'm going to move in the next slide. After discussing the concept, I'm going to go back to the question slide. Okay. So recombinant DNA technology. So as you can see, human insulin gene. I have taken human insulin gene, which a part of our human DNA, which codes for the insulin hormone. Okay, so this is the first insulin hormone that is synthesized by this recombinant DNA technology or the rDNA technology. So recombinant DNA technology, in this case, the DNA that is insulin gene that is isolated from the human genome, it is inserted. Here our DNA that is taken from a bacteria, plasmid. Plasmid is nothing but a bacterial DNA. You may consider it as a bacterial DNA. So this thing, this human gene for insulin, it will be inserted here. Okay, so if we insert the human gene that is responsible for the synthesis of insulin hormone, if I inserted this gene here in the bacterial genome, this becomes a recombinant DNA. Okay, now this recombinant DNA or this rDNA, this rDNA, recombinant DNA, is going to shift into the bacterial cell. Okay. After it is incorporated in the bacterial cell, the cell will obviously have the information to synthesize the insulin hormone. Now they will produce insulin hormone. Now what we are going to do? We are going to ferment these bacterial cells. Those have this recombinant DNA or the plasmid, also containing that human insulin gene. This bacteria will be fermented inside this fermentation tank. Now they will grow and they will produce the insulin hormone. After certain time, we are going to extract the insulin hormone from the bacterial cell. We can extract out and we can purify it for our uses, future use. Okay. This is a very simplified concept behind this genetic engineering of recombinant DNA technology. So now I am going to back on the question of biology. So the question is recombinant DNA technology from genetic engineering segment allows genes to be transferred. Statement 1, across different species of plants, then from animals to plants, and then from microorganisms to higher organisms. So from animals to plants, as well as across different species of plants, as well as from microorganisms to higher organisms. So recombinant DNA technology allows us to, recombine the gene segments or the DNA sections from one species to another. So we can, we can prepare recombinant DNA from several species. This allows us to make this. Okay. So number 1, number 2 and number 3 statements, all of them are correct. So the answer for this question is D, 1, 2 and 3. So I hope you get an idea about the syllabus of physics, chemistry and biology, and you get an idea about the prelims question, what are the sections you need to focus. Now I am moving into the main question pattern. Okay. So here is your mains question. Okay. Now the question is, this is from artificial intelligence. Now introduce the concept of artificial intelligence. How does AI help in clinical diagnosis? Do you perceive any threat to privacy of the individual in the use of AI in healthcare? So there is 3 parts of the question. You need to answer them accordingly, according to the parts of the question. So the first part is introduce the concept of artificial intelligence, AI. Okay. So for this segment, for this part, what you need to focus? Now, what is artificial intelligence? Now, artificial intelligence, the word artificial means what? The artificially, it is using human intelligence to perform different types of tasks. So, it has analytic skill, it has technical skill, it can analyze large database in a very short period of time with high efficiency, high accuracy. It can give you a very concise report from after analyzing our data. Then after that also it has the ability to take decisions. See, this is something, machine that mimics human, artificial intelligence. So this artificial intelligence we can use in huge segments. Okay. Now this is, something evolving day by day. So the thing, the field or the applications like virtual assistant, like this Alexa. Do you know Alexa? So you already know about the Alexa, no? So those are virtual assistants that is made by AI, artificial intelligence. Now, natural language processing, the chatbots we use, they can analyze the human languages and they can answer your questions, the chatbots. Now, the machine learning, then healthcare units, then robotics. Robotics are used in different segments like in healthcare, in clinical diagnosis, in surgery also, in medicine development. Okay, so there's a huge application segments of artificial intelligence. So this is, you have to focus or you need to elaborate these key points for the first part of your question. Okay. Now moving on to the next part of the question. The next part of the question was how you can use AI, artificial intelligence, in healthcare system. Okay. Now, in case of healthcare system, what we can do by artificial intelligence? So, artificial intelligence, first of all, it can like automation and efficiency. Obviously it can, automation means the human do not need to do the work. Okay, so the workload is going to shift it to the artificial intelligence machine. So the machine will analyze a large database with high efficiency, high accuracy, and it will give you a concise report from a large database. Okay, So next thing what they can do, medical imaging and analysis. Now medical imaging means the X-ray reports, the MRI reports, the CT scans, the blood reports, all these reports they can analyze. So they can be used to analyze these reports to get you the accurate report of these reports from a patient. Now next is large data analysis. I have already told you that the human if human wants to analyze a large database, then it will require a very long time, a very longer period of time. So AI is used to analyze a large huge database. Okay, now it also helps in drug discovery. Now, how it helps in drug discovery? It can give you different types of models, how the drug is going to act inside your body, what is the working principle of the drug, what will be the outcome. It will give you different types of models so that you can, precise your experiment, you can go with your experiment, what are the outcomes, you can analyze it before executing it. Okay. Next is improved outcome. Obviously, it removes the human error that may lead to harmful effects of treatment or the uses of drugs to the patients. Okay. So next is predictive modeling. It can predict different types of treatment model for a particular patient so that it can personalize the treatment for that particular patient by analyzing his or her clinical history, his or her genetics, his or her backgrounds, and his or her different types of clinical reports so that it can personalize the treatment according to the patient. As well as we can also remote patient monitoring. That means the wearable devices that introduce the artificial intelligence technology. So in that wearable devices, what we can check the pulse rate, we can check the oxygen availability, we can check the heartbeat, the pressure, and all these parameters for a health aspects, from the health aspects. So we can use this wearable device to track a patient's health. So these are the key points you need to elaborate in your question to answer the second part of the question, that how you can use AI in healthcare system. Now, the last part of the question was threat of the AI. What are the threats? Okay. Now, the threats of AI. Threats of के AI का मतलब है कि suppose, as I discussed earlier, AI can analyze large database. The AI needs to be trained with large database so that it can analyze various types of database from various fields, and it can take inputs to improvise it, to give you concise reports, to give you accuracy, to increase the accuracy rate, efficiency rate. So these are so that we provide the large database to it. But the risk is it can be a target for the cyber criminals. They can target these healthcare systems to, steal the database for the patients without their consents. So data breaching is a huge concern or huge threat from this AI. Now, also potential errors. If the reports, if the analyzing report, after AI analyzes a report, then if it gives you a error prone result, then it will lead to a very harmful effect on the patient. So these things, the accuracy should be at maximum, that no errors should be there, so that the treatment or so that the use of the drugs should be more and more accurate. Okay. The next thing is biased analysis. Now, biased analysis means if your report, the report you are going to show the artificial intelligence, or the report you are going to analyze with the help of AI, if the report has a biased report or biased database, then the artificial intelligence will just multiply it. it will multiply or it will amplify the biased result more and more, and that will lead to a very wrong or error prone report. So these are the threats of AI, but we need to overcome this, and we need to upgrade ourselves according to the technology advancement, so that we can shape our future. I hope you like the video. I have discussed the syllabus, I have discussed the question patterns, and also the from the prelims and the mains as well. So, and I you get the segments through which you need to focus, you need to take the concise notes from which segments, which current affairs, and you need to prepare yourself. You can strategize accordingly whatever I have discussed here. So I hope you like the video. Thank you. And this is we are going to start this UPSC course in North Bengal. Now you can enroll here, you can get the guidance for prelims, mains, and interview. Now you can get the best guidance from our institute. If you if you want to know more and more details, you can connect in this number. So this is for it. Thank you all.